Hello everyone, welcome back to Grim Dawn. This is the full run-through for those of you who have been cast off from Diablo Immortal. I've been, getting caught up in my new work schedule, so I'm sorry I haven't been uploading as much as maybe I should be, but here we are. So we're going to do a couple of things very quickly first. This is more specifically to occultists. Again, if you're using an occultist, you would want to go through this. Otherwise, you can ignore this, but I am going to be going through and trying to kill more cultists in the hopes of getting their unique weapon. Because it is incredibly powerful, and you can actually pretty consistently upgrade it through the game. There is a drought, so to speak, that you'll be encountering, but you can always come back here if you really need to upgrade to a new one, at least to some extent. So don't worry too much about that. It's actually one of the other reasons why I recommend the Occultist to a lot of new players. They have a lot of very easy to access powerful monster infrequents that you can absolutely very easily farm to your current level and just kind of not really have too much of a problem. And, well, you don't normally need to farm here in Grim Dawn. You don't necessarily need to go out of your way a whole lot of the time unless you're trying to dodge fights pretty actively. But if you're fighting anything you see that moves or breathes or even twitches funny, a strange key. I have another. I think that's my second one of those. Yeah. Then you really won't need to grind too much, at least until you're level 100 and you're looking for specific pieces of equipment. But that's a conversation for a later episode. Right now, we're just really chiefly concerned with trying to get some of these scepters that they're carrying around, although they look more like maces. But that's just my personal opinion. I doubt I'm the only one who thinks that. But again, this is really only somewhere I'm going specifically because I'm an occultist, and we're going to pop down here and hope one of these goons down here drops it. We've already been down here. If you're not an occultist, you don't need to care, in all honesty. This is just me trying to... Oh, that's not going to do me any good. I don't need shields, not with the build I intend on going with. Neither of these people have... Actually, none of these people. There's a third guy right over there. Alright. I've already opened that book. I'm not going to be able to do another one. Do any of those guys have? Let's look at them from a safe distance. I don't want to waste... No, they don't have any. Okay. Out we go then. Unfortunately, I did not get it. But there's always another neat place we can go for that, so I'm not too broken up about it. And off we go. We have... Did I actually... I did not find Isaac's stash. Okay, fair enough. We have a couple of things we want to do in this area before we move on. We'll get rid of you for the experience. Okay. Actually, I should probably go down the road and kill Julius. He kinda needs to die. What are you doing here? I was just over here and you were not here before. Get out of here. My goodness. Alright. Uh-oh. This is looking a little bit messy over here. Ah, that was 2 eyeballs to one guy that didn't need him. Gonna be really honest, that's kind of a waste of an eyeball. Not that it matters much. There we go. Another reason why the eyeballs are really nice early game is because those fire guys explode in early game. That's gonna hit you very hard. We're gonna get rid of these bigger eyeballs. Oh, I'm starting to get too high in level. I can see it. I just saw a blue number. What are you doing? That's not gonna be anything I need, but that's alright. You're still alive, but we're just fixing that now. Now, I'm not attacking him in melee because he has retaliation effects. Watch my health really quick. Hold on, let me dodge this. Regular attack. Notice I'm taking a little bit of damage as well from his just hitting him. Hold on. Get rid of these ads so you can see it. Really? How many lunatics are going to participate in this fight? Holy cow, you've got to be kidding me. Really? I'm trying to demonstrate retaliation damage. Now notice every time I hit him, I take a little bit of damage as well. That's retaliation. His is fairly mild. so it's not really that big of a deal, but it does happen, and having the eyeballs early game, again, helps with that, so it's just another little nice side perk of using the eyeballs, at least in the early game, until you have better defense to kind of survive retaliation effects, because they'll get more and more common as time goes on, slowly, and there are certain heroes that have just a natural built-in reflection damage, or a periodic one, I suppose, sometimes. Oh no, getting way too strong. I need to leave these guys alone. I killed Julius, and that's what I needed to do there. And now we're just going to go on ahead and very quickly pop over here. Because what we need to do is grab Isaac's stash. These guys are in the way. We're going to need to kill them. Alright. Now, I mentioned eyeballs, but honestly, any projectile weapon honestly has the same capabilities in a lot of cases. Obviously, individual ranged skills have different properties. For example, the Panetti's Replicating Missile from your Arcanist subclass, if you took that, that splits into multiple ones if you've not already tried it. And that's really good for clearing out large groups of enemies, which early game isn't that useful because, honestly, the enemy numbers are kind of small here. But later on in the game, when enemy numbers start to increase, that can really be helpful, and especially at the end game, where you're, farming for equipment, and you're really looking deliberately to kind of engage larger groups, it really can be incredibly potent, and it's absolutely worth consideration in grabbing, but you're going to generally be more disappointed by it in the early game, because you're not going to see its full potential in the early game, simply because enemy numbers aren't high enough to make that as truly impressive as a skill as it is. But as you progress through the game, and maybe you give it another chance, you'll begin to slowly see it really come into its own. A lot of the time, that's not something I particularly need, then neither is that. But it's still better shoulders than what I had before. This fell off, 127, no problem. Increase that physique, there we go. I don't think I have the level for this. Nah, 14. Alright. So now we're going to progress to the next area after one last very brief detour. And we're just going to whack these guys. There we go. Now, Slayla's Witchfire might seem a little weak right now, but that's primarily because my weapon is trash. That's what it basically comes down to. It's purely my weapon being absolute dog water. But give it time. Or if I switched to a two-handed weapon, it would be even more impressive, but that's neither here nor there at this particular moment. If I get the right weapons, I might temporarily switch to a two-handed weapon so you can see what I'm talking about. But that really depends on what Where did you guys crawl out from under? What? You were not there 2 seconds ago. Oh, I'm gonna die. Ugh. There we go. No, you behave. Alright. Do the dance of survival. There we go. Alright. That would have been a really great spot for Panetti's Replicating Missile. You are correct. Now we're coming in here so we can grab a shrine very specifically, but for me personally, there is also a weapon that I can grab. It's a guaranteed spawn, or I guess a guaranteed drop from this corpse. The good old Slith Tongue, that's a Necromancer's, which, if I was a Necromancer, would be amazingly cool, but I am not a Necromancer, so that's kind of mediocre. And even then, it's not going to be good enough for me. Yeah, no. Alright, I was kind of hoping that would actually do something useful for me, but no. Not good enough. That's still marginally better than what I currently have. Soul equip it, but that's fine. we're gonna just pop over here, and we're gonna do this. Oh wait, we should probably clear out these guys first, because this can be a fairly intense fight, especially at higher difficulties. Just going ahead and poison you, hit you to death with my axe. Go ahead and use my health potion early there. Re-poison you. I don't know why you stopped being poisoned. Get out of here. Alright, oops. You were a summoner. Rare to see those at this difficulty, but here we are. Not bad. We'll go ahead and equip it, but... And now... I'm going to go for the Viper. Cunning and Spirit. Excellent. And I will increase my weapon my physical damage types, which isn't too important, but it's going to be a nice little boost for my auto attacks if I wind up with a two-handed weapon or something like that. And now that we've done that, we're just going to wander on over here. Where, hello. Nice. The elemental seal from my little sacrificial knife going on over here. No, it's not my knife that does that, is it? Yeah, I think it is, actually. Yes, that was one I just equipped. I was going to say, I thought it was my knife, but I could be hallucinating. No, it's my knife. Almost maxed that out, which is good. Alright, now we gotta find a stupid merchant who had the audacity to be kidnapped by Slith for a snack. Clearly, he is snackier than I am. I'm fairly mid. He is clearly a snack. Wait until you see this man. He's a thing to behold. Those look like good boots. Poison you all, or some of you. Can I poison you guys really quick? Thank you. Yes. Yep. That's what I thought. We need those on. And is the... He is down here. Hey! That's pretty neat. Very nice. Yes, yes. A prisoner calls for help. Hold on. Let me open this chest really quick before saving lives. Treasure before people. After all, treasure will never betray you. Not that this guy actually does, to be honest. Oh, really? You want some of this? Fine. There's plenty of eyeballs for everyone. Alright, time to observe this snack. Look at this snack of a man. Anyways, now that we've rescued him, we're going to move on. There's really nothing else in this area we care about, other than him. He randomly spawns in one of 3 places, so you may need to do a bit of wandering around to actually find him in the area. But that's about the feature of Foggy Bank right here. As opposed to the previous area, which had you running all over the place. Alright, we're going to get rid of this guy. Alright. Boom. Okay. And we'll just eliminate these goons. Really? Where are you guys coming in from? There we go. Now, we are going to be confronted very soon with a very serious decision. Whether or not we want to go down a side area. Now, if you're a classically trained gamer like myself, your first instinct might be to say, Of course we're going to go in the side area. Why the hell wouldn't we, Professor? The side area, by the way, is here. You can either repair the bridge, cross over the bridge, and then skip this area completely, or you can go through here instead of repairing the bridge. The bridge requires iron and scrap. I have enough iron. I probably have enough scrap. I think it takes 6, but I could be wrong. It takes 3. So I'm going to repair the bridge, and I have a couple of extremely specific reasons. As I mentioned earlier, I pointed out that I'm getting a little too high in level because I started seeing blue numbers in the previous areas. Me going through the flooded passage, which is that area down there, is a really bad idea because that will keep me at too high of a level. By skipping over the flooded passage, I am putting myself back where I should be in terms of level, which is 12, 13, 14. If you are under-leveled for some reason, or you are not over-leveled and you're a soldier and or an Oathkeeper, I would recommend you go through the flooded passage. If you're going hardcore, I would also recommend going through the flooded passage. There are a couple of reasons for this. The boss at the end, the Shambler, he has a chance of dropping a very powerful amulet that boosts soldiers and Oathkeepers, if I'm remembering correctly. I might be thinking of a different item. Soldiers definitely, but I'm not 100% sure on the Oathkeeper. That might be me remembering a different item. But anyways, he drops something that is very helpful to those kinds of, shield-wielding, tankier people. Great item for those. Otherwise, if you're not under-leveled, you might go in there for the Shrine, which gives you another devotion point. Now, if you're new to the game and I'm playing through this like you are, you're not going to be aware of the fact that there are way more devotion shrines that you have access to than you're ever going to hit the cap. You're going to hit this cap. You're going to hit this cap of 55 devotion points long before you're done with the game, before you've beaten the game on all 3 difficulty levels. We'll talk about that when the time comes. But you're really, later on in the game, not going to be hard for devotion. The only reason I would ever go for the devotion point here is if I'm having a hard time surviving. And I'm doing plenty of damage. My health is a little low, but that's because right now my armor isn't great. I'm missing some... I have some pieces that aren't green yet. I've got a yellow ring over here for some bizarre reason. I still have a gray torso piece for some unholy reason. My armor isn't that great, so I'm not too surprised that I'm having a little bit of a harder time surviving, but that's not because of my level, it's because of my equipment. And going through the flooded passage, while it might help, considering those enemies are going to be a little lower level comparatively speaking to these guys, that's not generally going... I'm going to get better equipment from these guys, because the lower your level compared to your enemies, the better your equipment and the more experience you get. So by kind of running headlong into this, knowing that my damage is in a good spot, that's going to really make up for any kind of potential issues. Now, when you do cross the bridge, if you decide to go across the bridge, you are going to head left first. This is very important. There is a rift over here that will allow you to just rift back here very quickly in case you die like I'm about to, or if you just need to go back to Devil's Crossing for some delicious shopping. Totally up to you. But it is very important you head left first so you can open that rift. So we're going to do that right away. Now, there is also a potential that these, the Grobbles here have a chance of dropping a really potent offhand for poison-based builds. And I don't intend on going with a poison-based build in the long term, but this would be an impressive power boost in the short term for me that is worth considering. I haven't gotten any one of those because apparently this game I'm cursed, but that's fine. Also, the second reason you want to come over here... I mean, the rift is the first reason, but he's the second reason. This is the blacksmith. You gotta find Anne Grimm, which we'll find next episode. I want to show you something else to conclude this episode first. We're not gonna worry about the blacksmith right now. I think that needs more of its own episode to get into. So I'm going to show you this fun little area. Now you'll notice that I've pseudo twice picked up a strange key. This is bonus experience, and this is the second reason why I did not go through the flooded passage. If you're lucky enough to get the strange key, it's a random drop at this point. You can guaranteed get it later on if you really want to, but you, like I did in this particular game, or with this particular character I should say, like I did here, you can randomly get it, so that's going to affect a quest decision in the future. I'll get to that when it comes, don't worry about it now. But we're going to be able to go over here, and this is really important if you are an occultist or a shaman. I'll talk about that in a hot second. But you'll notice, look, more cultists. There's a whole mini dungeon here. It's totally optional, but it's full of enemies that will grow in level with you all the way up to level 40. And if you are an occultist, this is where you're going to be farming a lot of your scepters. If you want to go through, you know, with actually using the scepter, that's totally up to you. But if you do decide you really like the scepter, and you want it, every once in a while you feel like you need to upgrade your scepter, this is where you're going to come to do that. If you're a shaman using an offhand, these guys also sometimes, well, not these guys, but the guys inside drop an offhand that increases the power of your summons if you are a summon-based shaman. And I'm not really going to get into that right now. Another strange key. I might not be able to get equipment for Diddly Squat, but I can get rare items all over the place. What is? I can't even get monster equipments either. Okay, you're using what I want in a hot minute, but... Alright. We'll just have to get you with the elemental seal. Okay, that did not block that at all. Having a bit of trouble here because I ran out of energy potions. Drop dead. Thank you. And still, no, you know, I get all these strange keys which are supposed to be rarer than the scepters. I have not gotten a single scepter. Oh, it's a big Chungus. Alright. With lackeys. And I have no energy potions. Of course I don't. Now you can see how little damage my Slayer's Witchfire is doing to these guys. That's their chaos resistance. It's not as bad now as it will be later on. I'm still doing a bit of... I'm still doing almost decent damage. But it's going to definitely get a lot worse as time goes on. Alright. We're going to put down a rift because I feel like I'm about to die. I need to wipe out some of these guys in the background because they're summoning one or two of these things. What I'd really like is an energy potion. I probably should have gone back and bought some. But hindsight is 20/20. Can you stop summoning these? I know the big guy is also summoning them, but there's nothing I can do about that until I kill him. There we go. Now you're... Yep. I just gotta get rid of you really quick. There we go. I did not want you to show up. Thank you. That's right. Stand in my elemental seal. Let's go. Perfect. Okay. Ah. This. This is what I've been talking about this whole damn time. This is amazing. It doesn't seem like it's doing a lot of increased damage right now, but as you get higher and higher level versions of this, this will do more and more and more damage, and it's incredible. Also notice it does just straight up chaos damage. As you develop Slayer's Witchfire, as you develop a couple of other things, this is going to become more and more and more powerful. This is absolutely startlingly fantastic, and it's going to get better when we get our blacksmith, and I'm going to talk about that next episode. But that is not the end of the glorious story of the Bloodsworn Scepter. Now I have a Void Touched one, which is even better than normal because it has additional chaos damage. That 1 to 5 chaos damage is from the Void Touched, and this is absolutely fantastic. I don't have Sickle of Consumption yet, but it is something I intend on taking. This is what I was talking about with the offhand. This increases the Summon Briarthorn, which is the real key here. It increases pets. The Word of Renewal bonus, that's because it has the Inquisitor keyword. That's not normal to it. If you're a shaman, occultist summoning combination, this is really powerful. And I go out of my way to get that in those situations. I'm not in this particular situation, but just do keep that in mind, that that is absolutely incredible. And now that I have the Bloodsworn Scepter, I am absolutely going to be doing a lot better here. You can actually see there's a noticeable difference, but we need to actually level up here. Okay, there's that. And now that we have the Bloodsworn Scepter, I'm actually going to mix up my strategy a little bit. First, we're going to go in here, because just walking in here is going to give you experience from the Strange Key. If you get a Strange Key before you get to the Flooded Passage, again, unless you're a soldier or an Oathkeeper, you're really not going to go in the Flooded Passage. Now, I'm not going to really hang around in here. This is somewhere I'd come back to farm higher level scepters. When I hit level... You're generally going to want to come back and farm for a new scepter every 10 or so levels, rounding to the nearest one that ends in 5. For example, this here is a level 12 scepter, so I would want to come back here at about level 25. I believe the next one is actually specifically level 24, but it varies based on what monster infrequent it is. Some follow this pattern, some do 15, some do 17, and they go every multiple of that. I usually just approximate it to 15, 25, 35, 45. That's generally how I do it, because it's going to be close enough at that point where no matter what monster infrequent you're farming for, it's going to be close enough to get you that to drop, even if you're a little under that level. So we are 100% going to be doing that, but for the end of the episode, I want to bring you back and I want to readjust my build, because now I'm going to reconfigure more towards that Chaos Vitality build that I want to be doing. And also, this is the point at which we're going to want to actually head down into this area and start doing that. But that's, again, something I'm going to cover in the next episode, because I'm just now going to be pushing kind of the upper limits of what that area is going to offer at this particular point. I might have actually exceeded it slightly because I went on ahead and showed you the other area there. We're going to go to Sedina. I'm going to pull out Dreeg's Evil Eye. Again, if you're looking to specifically do the Poison Acid build, you would want to keep that, obviously. I want to go with the Chaos Vitality. I'll explain why later on in the game, but this is what we're going to go with. This is going to be, as I pointed out earlier, this is going to be enhanced by my Scepter. So that's even more damage. This is going to, as well, heal me. You can see that's 27% of the damage it's doing being converted to health. It does vitality damage. It's absolutely fantastic. And I'm just going to have myself a magical time with this. And as I'm going to go through the game, you're going to see more and more of that. And I'm just going to kind of... What I want to do before I even look at too much out of the Arcanist here... Actually, I forgot I have a couple points there that I'm going to want to pull out here. There. As I'm going through the, this area, I want to max these two out here because this is going to be a huge spike in damage. I want to do this in the early game because you really don't start seeing a heavy chthonic presence until very late in the game. A lot of your enemies from here on out are going to be mostly ethereal and beasts and other various factions. There's a couple of chthonic enemies that you're going to see. These are mostly going to be poison. There's not going to be a heavy chthonic presence until about 2/3 of the way through the main campaign, and then you're going to see a lot of chthonics. And you should already be in the Arcanist skills by that time. I expect to be. I still want to keep Inner Focus pretty high because it's going to give me Spirit that's going to increase my damage, and I'll probably finish that now that I have these two at the very least maxed. So I have Slayer's Witchfire maxed, I have Sickle of Consumption maxed. I'm going to go back to Inner Focus and max this really quick because I want that increased Spirit. And then I'm going to come back here and I'm going to finish up to these two. I don't need Doombolt now. I don't need Possession now. Right now I want that self-heal. The increased damage out of this is going to heal me more. It's going to obviously do more damage. I want that. I want the increased damage from Second Right. I want the Vitality Resistance. So even if I'm late on going into the Arcanist skills, the Vitality Resistance out of Second Right will at least give me a fighting chance against the Chthonics. It's very important. For my rough idea of my build, it's very important that I get these pretty damn quick. I might throw in Escondra's Elemental Exchange now while I have these two maxed, just so I can have some non-chaos and vitality damage, but I think I am going to do that, because it's also going to give me increased energy regeneration. Like I said, it is going to give me the elemental damage that will offset that, so any random vitality resistant hero that I come across, thinking about it, would probably be better, because if I come across a hero, because heroes randomly spawn as we've covered before, if I come across a hero that is very resistant to chaos and or vitality damage, I'm screwed. Really. At this particular point, I'd just die. And in hardcore, that would be fatal. In regular, like I'm playing here, that's not too much of a problem. It would be a setback, but that would be about it. And if one spawns, like, gosh, next episode, I'm not going to get to second rate in time. So I'm going to max out Inner Focus so I have the actual maximum energy to actually use Iskander's Elemental Exchange, and then I'm going to put points into this. So that way I have at least some form of damage against Chaos and Vitality resistant enemies, and then I'm going to finish up to these two. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to grab Overload, I'm going to grab Elemental Balance, and then I'm going to start figuring out, you know, what Arcanist skills I want. Do I want to absolutely go... Do I want to go into Reckless Power, go with the Aether Focus? Do I want to go into Star Pact with an Elemental Focus? Do I want to go into Possession with a Chaos and Vitality Focus? Do I want to grab... This isn't it. Do I want to grab Fabric of Reality and go Aether and Chaos simultaneously? Which is also why I really I'm emphasizing the Chaos here, because if I focus on Chaos damage right now, I have Fabric of Reality as a very easy option that I can slide into. But once I get Iskander's Elemental Exchange, that's when I'm going to start making these decisions. And that's going to partially depend on the equipment that I have, and it's going to partially kind of depend on what I feel like, in all honesty. But that's the direction that I'm going with now, and especially since I am grabbing the Danger Noodle here, specifically so I can grab the Energy Absorption here, but I am going to be getting some reduced elemental enemy resistances in the near future, and Iskander's Elemental Exchange is going to obviously take advantage of that. So, I've got some options on the table, I absolutely do. And there's some things that I want to do, and I want to really show you the beautiful potential of this particular pairing. But, in the meantime, that's what we're going to end the episode off on. Thank you all very much for joining me. If you liked this, please like and subscribe. If you didn't, please ignore me. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, ideas, suggestions, or requests, please leave them down in the comment section below. And thank you all very much for joining me, and have a great 24 hours.